Hey guys, it's Trevy the Grid here again with another battle report, doing some Warmachine yet again. This time it is Cygnar versus Mercenaries, or as I like to say, Cygnar versus Cygnar featuring Ashlynn. This is my awesome eStryker Cygnar army, 25 points, so a little smaller than I'm used to. I like doing 35, I think that's a good points value. I've never really done 50, so I don't know how well that works, but I like 35. So, this is against a player who's relatively new to the Mercenaries faction in general, so he's pretty new to that. I'm new to the game, so I think it's okay. He is playing Ashlynn Delise, who is a very fast, scary caster with a lot of buffs and things. I don't know too much about her. I know she's really good at melee. She's got a great, she's got a weapon master sword and flashing blade and riposte and quick draw and all sorts of cool abilities like that. She has also got, I know, Quicken and Distraction are the other two spells, and Twister are the spells I know about. So Quicken obviously makes her models faster, a little harder to hit with shooting. Distraction makes my models crappy with shooting and lowers their defense a little bit. And then Twister is a cloud effect, a little AoE thing that makes it a little harder for me to get some charges off on her. She's also got a very good defensive stat line. So she's defense 17, arm 15 with 14 boxes. 14 boxes isn't that great, but defense 17 is really hard to hit, so that will be tough. So, what my opponent's taking with Ashlynn is a big unit, a full unit of Precursor Knights with the UA. My opponent doesn't actually have the UA models yet. Like I said, he's very new to the faction. He's just starting out, so he doesn't have all of the models. So I let him borrow one of my Long Gunner Standard Bearers and Runewood. They are standing in for the UA for the Precursor Knights, which gives them the little mini feat, which basically makes them Weapon Masters. Also gives them heal, I think, and obviously Standard Bearer, so pretty cool there. He's also running a unit of 10 Long Gunners, yay, and a Nomad and a Vanguard, along with Ashlynn, so pretty scary. Obviously, this is my opponent's pretty new to the faction. I didn't take a crazy list. I took a unit of Stormblade Infantry with the UA. It was pretty much them or the Gun Mages. I just decided to take them because they're cool looking. Striker makes them pretty cool, so I like them. Obviously, Epic Striker with a Squire and a Journeyman Warcaster. And I think I had Reinhold in this list as well, because I had an extra point. The Journeyman Warcaster has a Defender in his battle group, and then Striker has a Hammersmith in his battle group. So not a lot of crazy shenanigans, but a lot of beat stick. So I like Hammersmiths with positive charge. They kill things, so that's how it's going to go. We're just playing normal caster kill, nothing really too special there. Here's basically how it's deployed. We each set up on one of these hills here. The little ruins are all counted as obstructions, not ruins or anything special like that. And the forests are ostensibly forests. So my opponent's got his Precursor Knights on the left-hand side there, Long Gunners on the right, with the two Warjacks. I've got my Stormblades across from the Precursors, and then my Warjacks across from his Warjacks. So we'll see how it goes. So this is about around round one. Nothing really special happened here. Both armies basically moved forward. I think Ashlynn walked up behind the Precursor Knights for a little bit of cover from shooting. Unfortunately, she forgot that the Nomad needed to be in her control area to get focus. So he was actually out of focus next turn, but she did put Quicken onto the Long Gunners, and then cancel the rest of her focus. Not a lot going on in turn one. My opponent went first, so I took the turn after him. I moved up basically with everything. Moved up those Stormblades behind the obstructions in the center there. I don't really want to get into grips with his Precursors because basically whoever gets the charge off in that is situation is gonna win. So yeah, don't want to get too close. Don't want to get in within charge range because I'll die. The Defender tried to take a shot at the Nomad. He was a little bit out of range by about an inch, and Striker casting Deflection and camping the rest of his focus. So not a lot going on. Arcane Shield going up on the Hammersmith, so he's pretty protected against enemy fire. So this is the bottom of round two. Again, another pretty uneventful turn. Neither army really wants to get to grips with each other, so we're pretty much pussyfooting around a little bit. My opponent's moved up, put a couple points of damage onto the Defender, I believe, from the Long Gunners. The Hammersmith took a shot from the Vanguard, I think, but didn't take any damage because he's armor 22 at this moment, so nothing really going on. My opponent tried to put Twister up in front of the Precursors. Unfortunately, he was He scattered a little bit. He was out of range from the Stormblades, obviously, so he was just trying to block line of sight, so I couldn't really get a charge laying off on them. And he scattered a little bit behind the obstruction there. You can see the template, and so that really didn't accomplish too much. My turn. I moved the Stormblades a little bit back so they wouldn't get charged by the precursors. Took a couple points of damage off the Nomad with the Defender, and cast Deflection with Striker, and danced, did jig. So this is the bottom of turn 3. I tried to get an assassination run off on this turn. I didn't take a picture of my opponent's turn, unfortunately. I probably should have. And sorry for the grainy picture here. I'm not sure why it's like that. It looks like grainy rather than fuzzy, so I don't know what's going on there. Craziness. But anyway, what's happened here is that my opponent in his turn, he moved Ashlynn from behind the precursors to behind the long gunners. He wanted to keep his jacks into his control range there, so he could actually allocate focus to them, which he forgot to do last turn, I believe. And then he cast Twister onto the Hammersmith. Now, the Vanguard was in front of Ashlynn, and in front of a couple of long gunners, and he hit the Hammersmith with Twister, which obviously becomes a cloud effect. Didn't do any damage, but it becomes a cloud effect, which means that I can't draw a line of sight through it. As far as I know, obviously I'm not good at this game, so somebody wants to correct me on that, that's fine. So what I had the ability, if the Twister wasn't there, I could have easily slammed the Hammersmith into the Vanguard, or failing that, tried to chain attack it with my 2 initial attacks, and then smite it onto Ashlynn, which would knock Ashlynn down, and then I could Velocity with Striker around the Hammersmith, and then charge Ashlynn and kill her. So unfortunately, the Twister really put a big wrench in my work. So what I tried to do was put a couple focus on the Defender, move the Defender over, and push the Hammersmith out of the Twister. Now, unfortunately, the Hammersmith is beefier than the Defender. The Defender was too pansy to do it. He couldn't pull it off. So he unfortunately wasn't able to put off the assassination run. So I upkept Arcane Shield on the Hammersmith, just moved him up, just basically said, deal with me, and unfortunately wasn't able to get the assassination run off. Okay, bottom of turn 4, I believe. I didn't take a picture of my opponent's turn. It wasn't that important, but lots of things have happened. So what my opponent did in his turn was he moved up the Nomad and he charged the Hammersmith. He fired at the Defender with his long gunners. I think he took out the Cortex and both of its arms. So the Defender was pretty gimpy at this point. The Hammersmith had taken a couple points of damage. The Nomad swung at him, wasn't able to do enough damage, even with his charge attack. He was only able to do 3 or 4 points of damage because he's swinging at dice -5 because he's got his POW 17 sword. So it wasn't very probable that he was going to do too much damage. So he did a couple points of damage to the Hammersmith, not enough to really care about. And then moved up with his precursors a little bit around that obstruction. So in my turn, I decided that I had to deal with the precursors. And I really didn't want to get Striker near Ashlynn because Ashlynn could probably deal with him pretty easily. So what I did was I put positive charge onto the Hammersmith, put a 1 or 2 focus on the Hammersmith, poked my Squire for a focus, dropped Arcane Shield off the Hammersmith and put it on Striker. And then Striker charged got a Lucky Charm from Reinhold and charged one of the what do you call those dudes? The Precursor Knights, and killed him. And then feated. So the Stormblades then assaulted the Precursors, basically killed the front rank with their assault attacks plus melee attacks. And then after everything was said and done, did their feat attack to move up 3 inches and then make an additional melee attack to kill the rest of them. I ended up killing everybody but 1 Precursor Knight, so that was pretty good. The Hammersmith with positive charge moved up and swung at the Nomad and killed him pretty easily, and then took his feat attack onto the Vanguard, but wasn't able to do too much damage. And then I shuffled some of my units around, just moved up the Ironclad to try to engage some of the long gunners. Unfortunately, I was just a little bit out, so he was probably going to die next turn anyway, which is okay with me. Just hanging out. So obviously pretty productive feat turn, killing all but one of the precursors, which was pretty good, and pretty much just dealt with them, and then dealt with the Nomad as well. So I don't have any ranged at this point, so unfortunately my opponent outranges me with his long gunners, so I'm going to really have to outmaneuver him. I do have deflection, which is going to help a little bit, but not enough to really make a difference. So I'm going to have to try to get Stryker in on an assassination run on Ashlynn at some point. So this is bottom of round 5, I think. What my opponent's done here is basically nothing too unexpected. He's aimed with the long gunners, fired at the defender twice, killed him, and then put a bunch of focus onto the Vanguard, swung at the Hammersmith. Without Arcane Shield, the Vanguard could do a little bit more damage, was able to box him. So both of my jacks got wrecked, which was I was pretty much expecting that. They were almost out of control range anyway, and nothing, they couldn't really do anything. They were pretty gimpy at this point. Lost a couple of arms and cortexes and things. In my turn, basically, I just moved everything up. I think I ran with the Stormblades, try to get them up around that side there, and then moved Stryker around behind that little obstruction there, so he had a little bit of cover from the long gunner shooting if they decided to shoot at him. He is camping a couple focus. He's got Arcane Shield up, and I think he put deflection up as well. So his armor is very high, so it's improbable that he could take any damage. But if he does take damage, it's going to hurt my overload quite a bit. So I'm trying to keep him as safe as possible. I put all my little happy support solos behind the wall over there, and just camped a couple focus on the what do you call it, the junior, and just hid so I wouldn't lose any important support pieces. Okay, so this is going to be the last photo of the game, obviously, because Stryker is in melee range of Ashlynn, so games tend to end when that happens. So what my opponent did in his turn was, moved up his long gunners, trying to take a couple shots at my support solos and things like that. Wasn't able to do any damage, I think. My defense was high enough behind the walls that he put a couple CRAs into them with a couple guys. He didn't aim because he was going to be out of range if he did, so he wasn't able to kill enough to really make a difference or do enough damage. He moved up his Vanguard around behind that corner to try to block things up. I did still have a charge lane past the Vanguard, which was good, so I was going to be able to move past it. So what I did in my turn was to get the Stormblades pretty much out of Stryker's way, I assaulted the Vanguard and did a couple points of damage with their ranged attacks on him. Poked my Squire for a focus and upkept Arcane Shield on Stryker. Charred velocity for 6 inches, I think, to get around that little the wall there, and then got line of sight on Ashlynn, charged her, and overcharged on 2d6. I rolled pretty bad on the overcharge. I think I only got 6 or 7 extra strength from it, but with the boosted charge attack, I boosted the attack roll. The damage roll was automatically boosted because I charged, and I was able to do just enough damage with my first swing to just kill Ashlynn. So unfortunately, very unfortunate for my opponent that he put Ashlynn in Stryker's charge range. It was very close. It was a very close call. But I think that even if I landed 1 or 2 attacks, I would have been able to deal with her. So yeah, there you go. Good game of my opponent. Obviously underestimated Stryker's charge rate a little bit, but that happens a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed this pretty short battle report. The game was could have gone either way pretty much, but Stryker just has a much longer threat range than Ashlynn does, and my opponent let me get the charge off. I did take a free strike. I forgot to mention I did take a free strike from the Vanguard. He wasn't able to hit Stryker's def 16, so that happens. So again, hope you guys enjoyed. I got a couple more Warmachine Batreps coming up, so stay tuned for those. Check out my channel and Trevyspaintingtable.com for more cool minis and things.